This is Charlie Parsons for Boxing Social in association with William Hill and Empire Fight Store. Always a pleasure. My good friend on Zoom, Mr. Paul Bamba. Sunday evening over here. I think more about afternoon where you are. How are you, bro?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Thank you for having me on, man. Yeah, it's
Thank
about 4 p.m. here about.
you. That's all right. That's all right. You still got the day to go. Always nice chatting to you. I think a special mention, first of all, uh, I've got to shout out so the viewers watching this know. When I was in New York, you dropped me a message and you said, "Hey, look, I'm gonna sort you out when you go back to the airport." And now, at this point, we'd spoken, and I know we'd done interviews and that, but you explained your full reason to me, and I've got to say, you really did sort me out a limo for me and my girlfriend back to the airport. So, Paul, big up yourself on that one. I know, I think it's important to say that when you take a liking to someone and when people do good to you, you look after them as well. So, a real
Oh
good
yeah,
person for that, Paul.
of course, no problem. You got to do right by people that do right by you. Yeah.
Big facts. Look, coming up. Weigh-in on Thursday, fight on Friday, New Orleans. Misfits. I know you put out a little tweet saying you want to fight with Chris Avilla to be bumped up to co-main event. You're now only a small amount of time away. How are you feeling? Are you excited?
I'm super excited. Having a little moment again. So hopefully nothing goes wrong like it did back in November. But ready for it. Looking forward to it. Just excited. It's a lot different than like this past November. This one feels really good. Uh, just like the crowd, like the fans, all that. Everybody's been super supportive and all that, so that's always good too. It's motivating. I'm just ready to do what I do.
We will go into sort of everything that happened, not sort of dwell on everything that happened in November, but maybe the Tommy Fury stuff, as per se. But for now, this camp, how have you found it? You find yourself making your Misfits debut when we caught up in November. You said Mams have been nothing but brilliant to you. You now find yourself on this big card in a big fight. Um, really excited and had a good camp behind you.
Yeah, totally. Had some things I had to work through in camp, but it's nothing. I don't think anybody is ever lucky enough to get in the ring at 100%. So it doesn't really matter. It just matters that we're healthy. We show up and we show out. That's really the plan. Uh, yeah, I'm excited. I worked hard when I could. I did a lot of things. I pushed the envelope a lot. I definitely see myself in a better light than I did back in November as well. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm very much excited. I think it's a good little, it's a nice homecoming, I guess, to Misfits. I guess you could say it's a decent opponent, good name attached to him. He's got good friends. That's why he's a decent opponent, and it's cool.
Obviously a big opportunity to become a bit of a star in the Misfits circuit. Um, there is, I suppose it's not so much the influencer scene, but the crossover scene. We see yourself, you've had Pro Bout, Anthony Taylor, Idris Virgo. The list goes on. We're now seeing, and we will go into Salt Papi versus Anthony Taylor that's been announced. We're going to see instances where the two are able to overlap, which is quite an exciting prospect. You looking forward to sort of being able to make this name for yourself in Misfits and be involved in all of the fights? I know you're a man who very rarely ducks a challenge and always up for the big occasion.
Yeah, that's the one thing I'm most excited for. I think that's why I might feel a bit of pressure because I know what I was supposed to do with Tommy, and now I'm on a whole new platform with way more eyes on, way more engaged eyes as well. So yeah, I definitely want to go out there and do everything I'm supposed to do and turn it into something bigger and better so I can continue to progress.
Let's talk about the beef that's been going back and forth. I've been laughing at your Instagram stories. I think you sent Nate Diaz a little DM and he just replied bluntly with fuck off or something like that. Um, how personal is it? Obviously, we know that tempers flare, fighters are making weight, they're fighting each other. That it's not always going to be lovey-dovey, but is it personal or is it just selling a fight?
No, it's just a fight. Like My whole thing with Misfits is it's like it's crossover boxing, right? So you want to be engaging with the fans and stuff like that. You want to make the more of a build up and stuff like that. Get people more involved, like get more eyes on, so that way we could do bigger things. So I just made a few jokes. They weren't like personal. I didn't really like downgrade who he was. As I guess I did actually. Yeah, I just made a few jokes, man. I just made a few jokes. Some people took them and ran. If you check out Bamba memes Avila on Twitter, it's actually quite hilarious. There's a few good ones on there. But no, it's not personal. We both have a job to do, and the best man is gonna win. Meaning me. That's pretty much it.
How much enjoyment do you have in the sort of winding up side of it? Because there is a real opportunity to get under your opponent's skin. You're going to be able to do that this week, time and time again, whether it's the crossover scene or the professional boxing scene. We interview people in the build up to the fight. For example, I interviewed Josh Taylor, and he said there's no bad blood between me and Teofimo Lopez, but that could all change on fight week. This could all change for you on fight week with Chris Avilla when you get face to face. Do you expect that? But I suppose you also enjoy that side of it.
Um, I don't really expect anything from him. He hasn't really engaged too much. He after the Waterboy comment was made, and a bunch of people like kind of jumped on that. They rode with it with me. He took me off like the fan poster that we had, like the actual art. I don't know what you guys call them, like artwork or what the stuff, the fight poster. That's what it's
Yeah,
called.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, if you go on his page, he completely took me off of it. So I think I like rattle him a little bit. But it's all jokes. It's all good fun. I understand we have a serious job to do come Thursday, but I want to have fun with it. I want to be engaging. I don't want it to be boring. And hopefully during fight week, I like matching energy. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
anything that's thrown my way, I'm definitely gonna match it or more than likely supersede it because I'm a little petty. But I like shit like that. I like stuff like that. Sorry.
Have you enjoyed the sort of aspect of winding Nate Diaz up a little bit in the mix there as well?
Yes, that's probably my favorite part because I truly believe if I'm able to put Chris away, that does set up some sort of fight with me and Nate. I think if there's enough shit, sorry, I think if there's enough trash talk about it and stuff like that, I think that it could open some doors. I'm pretty sure he's gonna have some sort of rematch clause with Jake Paul. So after Jake Paul knocks him out, he might need a pick me up fight since I'm easy work. I might be that guy after I knock out his boy. I'm just saying it's possible. You never know in this world, so I'm gunning for it. If I get under any of their skin, I don't really care. At the end of the day, it's just me and Chris that are meant to fight, so that's just what it is. And it's been fun.
I suppose that sort of fits in hand of what I was going to say. Um, on the Nate Diaz front, he fights Jake Paul next. You mentioned it a little bit. I suppose just firstly, I can tell your thoughts on the fight. You sort of expect him to get knocked out based on what you said a minute ago.
Yeah.
Um, it's at 185 pounds. Is this a payday for Nate?
Yeah. Imagine for me personally, let me start building my Nate Diaz fight up right now. For me personally, to be Nate Diaz and be the B side of somebody who grew up watching you and like a YouTuber, like however you're gonna downplay him, but you're the B side, that's just crazy to me. For you to need that, that's just I don't know, it says a lot about it's kind of crazy where his career has gone, I guess you could say, because he was on top of the world when he beat Connor, which I kind of feel like he beat Connor twice. But then what happened after that? He's fighting Jake Paul, who he used to make fun of, and not only did he used to make fun of him and saying he wants to beat him up, he's his B side. He's like it goes Paul, then Nate Diaz. That's just crazy.
He's B-side. Um, Look, let me sort of divulge even more into that then, because Jake Paul's come out with this video, right? Saying that in the instance of the fight, I know that Jake's got his link up with PFL. If Jake wins, well, I think there's some form of rematch clause anyway, whether that be in a boxing ring, but they did speak about running it in MMA. Now, look, PFL, a massively growing organization within combat sports in the States, growing over here as well. Doing quite good things. Oh, Paul, it says it's your Wi-Fi. Hold up.
Does it really? I
Yeah.
have all my.
Yeah, this is what's weird because I've got really good Wi-Fi and I'm literally sat next to the router. It's saying this. Like you're in and out with me. I don't know why. Like I can see you fine again. I'll keep,
Uh,
we'll just keep rolling, and if there's any bits where it keeps lagging, I'll just cut it in and out. PFL, big growing organisation. Jake Paul's linked up with them. We know that they've got their eyes set on Francis and Ngannou. Props to them. If they meet in a sort of MMA ring, firstly, is Jake delusional? Because obviously Jake spoke about beating Canelo in the past, etc. I think we sort of squashed that a little bit when he lost against Tommy Fury. Good on him though, still competing in boxing and wanting to do good things. Is Nate Diaz in the octagon, that fight for Jake Paul, is that a little bit too far, Paul?
I don't think so. I think Jake beats him twice.
In
Let
the
me
in
tell
the
you.
octagon.
I know it sounds crazy. I know it sounds crazy, but all right. So Jake's 25. He has a wrestling background, right? Then he used to wrestle with his brother or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
these guys are just like oddly athletic. They're good, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Nate's 37. If they do the weight, Jake's still gonna be A side. If they fight at 185 pounds, smaller gloves, Nate's there to get hit. He acts like a tough guy. I think Jake knocks him out. If they wrestle around, yes, Nate has jujitsu and all that, but I don't think Jake makes it that easy for him. I think it's a really rough fight. If you see from the way he boxes too, it's like he hasn't learned to use his jab completely either. He's hell bent on hurting people. This is a very good thing. 25 versus 37, he takes it.
What would it mean for someone like Jake, or sorry, Nate's legacy to go in the boxing ring? I feel like it don't dampen too much. You look at guys like Tyron Woodley, what a
Yeah.
career he had in MMA. It's a different thing. If Nate Diaz was to go and lose to Jake Paul in the octagon, how bad would that be for his legacy?
I think that'd be pretty bad. Um, yeah, that'd be bad.
That'd be
I mean,
pretty
you can
bad.
always argue that he's older though, and all of that. But I think all in all, he should. It depends how he loses. If he made it a tough fight and it was a close fight and Jake wins, I don't think it does much because you can throw age as a factor in there, right? I think that if Jake just goes in there and he does like what Matt Masvidal did to like Ben Askren, I think that's terrible. That would be really bad. I hope that doesn't happen. That'd be weird.
Okay, okay.
Jake would be like more of a super. I don't even think that's possible. He'd be like 10 times more of a superstar if he did that though. That'd be wild. Imagine.
That, that would be wild. But weirder things have happened. Weirder things have happened, right?
It's true. All it takes is a split second.
Um, Let me go on to Tommy Fury. You touched on that sort of debacle in Dubai. I look back at it and I just think, what a crazy, crazy, crazy week from a media perspective. So God knows what it was like from a fighter's side. Um,
Yeah.
Mental. Jake, Tommy got that win over Jake. Semi-convincing, you could say. Um, Looked good in there. Did look like the better man, in my opinion. The right victor in the fight. Now, are you still? I know you. That's a fight that you're always going to want, right? I know you're chasing that fight, and I know you always want it. But me and you have always spoke about looking at things realistically. Yeah. Do you think there's any?
Realism leads you down the road of mediocrity, my friend.
Well, I like that then. I like that. Do in that case, right? Is it there down the line? Do you think still?
I think so. One fight I do know I'm gonna get is Anthony Taylor, and if I could put Anthony Taylor, I have no problem with this man at all. Actually, we're getting along. But one thing I do know is if I could do something Tommy couldn't while Anthony's building and gaining more boxing experience, I'm able to put him away.
Okay.
That right there, I feel like that's my ticket. And me and Anthony are both signed to the same promotion, and there's only so far you can really run from that before we have to just meet. Look what just happened with Salt Papi. He couldn't find anybody to fight. that's the next best bet for him, right?
Do you think, right? I saw Keemstar put something up, and I actually put a little quote tweet out. I know that he didn't want it to be like this. Okay, obviously didn't want two of his guys in the same network fighting. But from a management perspective in professional boxing, I don't know about the States, but over here in the UK, if two guys are managed by the same person, but they're not in the same gym, not in the same stable, they usually are willing to fight each other. This is the case here. I know things are slightly different in the influencer scene and the understanding's not always the same. But from my opinion, as someone who's grown up watching hardcore and now coming into this side, should there be any reason why people don't fight if they're under the same platform, under the same, as long as they're not in the gym together?
I don't think so. I think more or less everybody's gonna end up fighting each other at
Yeah,
some point.
exactly. Yeah.
Unless you're like I don't think it makes sense for like Idris to fight KSI, not because it wouldn't be competitive, but because they're both sparring partners. So that would be like, why would you do that unless it obviously makes sense for both of them? But I think to just be managed by the same group of people or to be under the same stable, it's fine. Top Rank does it to theirs. Golden Boy, everybody
Yeah,
does
yeah, yeah. This is what I was saying. Yeah.
it.
Okay, well then the fight itself, Salt Papi, Anthony Taylor, a lot of people are happy. Idris Virgo's not happy. He come out last time with a conclusive win over Salt Papi. But I mean, what do you put it down to? Is Idris Virgo a big sorry, is Anthony Taylor the bigger name with everything he's done over the crossover scene? Um, I've always loved him as because he's a personality that just sort of
Yeah, you gotta go put
just is able to make something fun, right?
it.
What do you think of the fight? And do you think Idris has been a little bit hard done by?
I think it's a good fight. I think Anthony, if Anthony's in shape, I think Anthony wins. I mean, we haven't seen, and no offense to Salt or anything like that either, because I think he's great. He has like a very good ring IQ for the amount of time he says he's been doing it. He says he's been doing it, keyword. Um, but I think Anthony's a pressure fighter and he gives anybody problems if he's in shape and he's actually applying himself. I think that it's good, but I also think it's good for Salt too, because if he can get through Anthony, that opens up more opportunities for him. Um, you should always want to slightly, have some sort of step up to where it might be like, hey, you got to work hard, but this is a winnable fight, and it transforms you into an even better fighter. That could happen too if Salt wins. I think it's a competitive fight though, for sure, because you're not going to see Anthony shy away from contact like we've seen in some other fights. Salt had. So like Anthony's going to come forward. He's going to, if he gets hit, he's coming forward. So for that alone, that's going to, in my mind, going to test Salt a bit to see how he handles that pressure when somebody takes one of his better shots and they keep coming forward.
I'm interested, right? After this, people are saying that he's got to fight KSI. I know that it will be brewing for years, and it has been brewing for years. Everyone really wants to see KSI versus Jake Paul. Um, there's a lot of sort of stigma around the O in boxing, right? Jake Paul's O has gone. He lost to Tommy Fury, but he wasn't knocked out. Um, what do you think would happen as of right now if KSI was to get in the ring with someone like Salt Papi? And if, say, KSI was to be knocked out, how much does that damage the fight between him and Jake?
Uh, so like if KSI and Salt fought tomorrow,
Yeah,
I think KSI would not like. I don't know. We have to see how he gets hit, but I see KSI winning there. I think experience is a real thing. Who you've gone up against is a real thing. Having people in sparring, like I've seen Salt say that he or other people say that he spars like these top amateurs and world people, but then you have KSI as a everyday sparring partner and Idris, who I've seen some videos and they be trying to fuck each other up. So who's getting hit with more intent and how are they handling it? I got KSI. I don't think if in the off chance that that did happen, I don't think it would ruin the Jake Paul fight at all. I think everybody is kind of curious just because the beast's been going on
yeah,
for so
yeah, yeah.
long. But I do think if Salt was to be able to knock someone out like KSI, that would just stock rise immediately. Um, I don't know yet. I think we got to see to wait and see how he handles pressure really and how he handles somebody. I don't think that was Josh Bruckner's best fight that he had. His like skill set really showcased. He didn't really. He was a bit timid in his approach to come forward. Not saying there's anything wrong with that, but is Salt the same fighter when somebody's coming forward with bad intentions? That's what we'll see. Because 16-ounce gloves in the gym is a lot different from 10-ounce gloves.
On that topic, KSI versus Joe Fournier. We're not far away now. The card's been finalised. We haven't got too much longer. I know you've got to go and do your thing, and I've got to go and have my dinner. But let me ask you though, a lot has been said about KSI fighting a pro boxer, but there's also been a lot of criticism on Joe Fournier being a quote unquote pro boxer. What do you make of the fight? Um, you know, there's an argument that a lot of people can turn pro and then sort of fight some nobodies and get some good wins under their name. I'm not saying that's the case in this instance. You point at yourself. What, what do you think it's a, they talk this pro, we're fighting a pro, we're fighting a pro. Compared to someone like a Woodley, etc., the other fights that were thrown about, what do you make of it? Is this a tough enough test for JJ?
I think it's a tough test. I think like Styles make fights and he is a professional and he is 9-0. And one of the matches that aren't on his record are the I think it's the David Hay one, right?
Oh,
So he does obviously if you I know he got stopped and I think that there's some sort of friends or whatever, but
yeah.
it does definitely put him up there. And I think the intent that Joe has is to he seems like a bit of an egomaniac kind of. So I think his intent is to really try to put KSI away. And if you have a bit more of a skill set and you have, like I said, bad intentions and stuff like that, that goes a real long way. Skills pay the bills. So I think it is dangerous for KSI. I do think he'll come out victorious. I feel like he'll wear him down and knock him out. It's a good test because it's his first 6-round fight. And it
Well, Paul, always a pleasure. Thank you for speaking to us at Boxing Social. Always enjoy communicating, going back and forth with you. I'll be tuned in on Friday watching my man. Look forward to it very much. Just a final message to the fans, people watching, not long to go now. What's happening next Friday?
Next Friday, you guys are going to see me take on Chris Avilla. I'm going to stop him or I'm going to box his ears off. There's really no in between for me. I'm going in there to do a job, and I'm entirely certain I'm going to do it well.
Paul Bamba, always an absolute gentleman. Thank you for speaking to us.